No response, no communication. Reached out to the city attorney, Sky Woodruff, disrespectful, unprofessional, and actually treated me like a second-class citizen.
Shame on you, Mr. Flores. Mr. Woodruff, Ms. Wolfe, 1803 Marbury versus Madison. The last item was an attack on your political opponents in disguise. Anything repugnant to the Constitution is void. I heard language tonight that was in conflict with the Constitution, an attempt to shut down your political opposition. All of you should know not to do something like that. I hadn't even read the thing I didn't know was on the agenda. But the discussion tonight clearly outed you, Mr. Flores, as wanting to instigate this. This is about political signs, painting them on trucks or something to that effect. Political signs. People can't display their signs on their trucks. If there is an issue with a sign and it happens to be a problem for traffic, that's one thing, but painting signs on trucks, on cars, that's an extension of speech. You should not be entertaining something like that. You brought up the political thing, not me.
How did this come to be on our agenda?
This was something that council members had raised as an issue.
When did that occur?
This was during the 2022 election cycle.
And for the record, I did not bring this item up. What happened 2 years ago stayed 2 years ago. Any election results were the will of the people, and that's where it stayed. I am not resurrecting elections or trying to do anything in regards to opposition or anything. Anyone is allowed to run for office, and anyone is allowed to submit papers and do anything. If I ever commented on something like this was because of traffic issues that I had seen in nearby cities, and I said for us to consider avoiding any such situations as accidents. It's not shutting down the First Amendment, shutting down the Constitution, or any other form as mentioned today.
Now, item number 8.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, if you're online, or City Attorney or City Manager, in regards to this, I just wanted to kind of remember and help me remember that what is our policy in terms of as we are gearing up for campaign season, for campaign, I guess, information, literature, signs in city-owned property, businesses, buildings, parks. What is the policy, if you could remind us all of that?
Yeah, and I know that I'm sure the city clerk will chime in, but the city clerk's office, I know, distributes information to all candidates about many of the issues that you just mentioned, but I'll just say briefly that campaign signs are regulated as a part of the city's overall sign ordinance, and they regulate how soon they can go up, how soon they must be taken down, the total amount of campaign signage sort of square feet that a resident may post on their property, and then posting of campaign signs by candidates, including in the public right-of-way. The conduct in city buildings ordinance that the council adopted last year more clearly prohibits the leaving of campaign literature and campaign signs inside of city buildings. We did hear during the 2022 campaign that there were concerns about vehicles with large signs, campaign signs on them, being parked in certain locations in public right-of-way and on city property. We'll be bringing forward an ordinance to that council can consider to regulate that activity. So many of those issues are already addressed in the municipal code, and some of them will be bringing forward some additional changes for this campaign cycle.
And within that, is there size specification on that?
For the
signage?
For the signs on vehicles. Yeah, so we're still finalizing that. But we're trying to craft it in a way that balances the First Amendment protections that are in place under the state and federal constitutions against the safety and aesthetics issues that the city is allowed to regulate that were raised during the 2022 campaign about it.
So, Mr. Flores, it is truly a disgrace, a conspiracy, and a proof of nepotism and totalitarian at the highest level. Here are what I actually learned from all of these email exchanges. So on April 7th, and there was an exchange of email between Mr. Flores and communications manager, Ms. Lau. So Mr. Flores asked Ms. Lau if there were 4 winners and 1 honorable mention, then who were the 4 winners, referring to last year 2024's Women of the Year recipients. Ms. Lau responded, just 4, no honorable mention. Amanda Anthony, Ava Romero, Dana Lejeune, and Lydia Pomposo. The number grew because Dana and Amanda nominated one another, and it felt fair to recognize them together. Lydia and Ava had multiple nominations each. So what this demonstrated was that Mr. Coleman, who was in charge of that last year, clearly it went from 1 Woman of the Year to 4 Women of the Year. And I actually looked up, the 2 people who nominated each other and you put them on, they were both on your website as endorsing you. They serve as, I think, the school board. So congratulations. I think this was really well done for helping you win the election last year. So another change between Mr. Flores and Ms. Lau was Mr. Flores actually directed Ms. Lau, I will be making the final selections, but we will not share that out. We would just say nomination will be reviewed and considered. Nomination period this week through the end of the month, which is April. Review final selection and notification first week of May.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Yes, good evening, Mayor Flores, members of South San Francisco City Council, and fellow citizens. My name is Sam Ketkudi. I attempted to attend the special meeting on October 4th of this month, which dealt with the selection of the new city manager. The meeting was held at 357 Oyster Point Boulevard at 1 p.m. I drove down Oyster Point until it dead-ended, then turned left onto Oyster Point Boulevard and drove to 89 Oyster Point. At this point, I realized I had gone too far and made a U-turn and headed back to Oyster Point Boulevard. There were signs in front of buildings giving various addresses, but not one showed the address of 357. I then turned right back onto Oyster Point Boulevard. At this point, I turned into a parking lot of a company at 349 Oyster Point Boulevard. Here I parked and spoke to a security guard at the premises. I told her I was looking for 357 Oyster Point Boulevard to attend a city council meeting. She said she did not know where 357 Oyster Point Boulevard was, but would drive around and see if she could find it for me. While she was searching for me, I walked up to 355 Oyster Point Boulevard, which is a parking garage. The building to its right on the bay is 365 Oyster Point. I figured 357 Oyster Point must be close by. So I walked in between the garage and 365 Oyster Point Boulevard. Alas, there was a solid fence blocking my way, and all I could do was get to the alley between the garage and 365 Oyster Point Boulevard, no further. At this point, the security guard returned and told me that she could not find 357 Oyster Point Boulevard, nor could she see any signage that said there was a city council meeting in the area. I ultimately left frustrated and headed for home. There had to be a more convenient location for the public to attend this meeting than at the furthest reaches of South San Francisco. Thank you.
Madam City Manager, can you provide some context to that, please?
We did double check, and the HR director placed signs at the entrance and at the back door, and many people found the meeting. So I'm very sorry if any members of the public got turned around there, but I think the city did meet all the requirements for addressing and noticing.
I'm sorry. Many people found the meeting. There was no one from the public there. And maybe it was just me as far as the electeds. I had a little trouble finding the meeting and getting into the building. So I don't think we can just carte blanche push away the concern. It was not the best place to have a meeting.
Good evening, City Council. I would like to show you some of District 5 downtown. I'm a 30-year-plus resident of the downtown. Sam, if you can hold up that picture. 2 years I've been calling this in, and as you see here, There's, move here so that people on the TV can see it. So as you see here, a big building was built. Several city officials, day in, day out, go by that. These businesses, there's 5 restaurants there. You see the blight, you see the trash. I went through all the chain of command. Nothing, nothing, nothing. The second one is, James, the proclamation you just read for ADA disabled people. Sorry to hear about your dad. I've written to City Hall, I've written to Council. Here we go. Here you have a ramp that's been replaced 3 times. Council, you called me out, you said it wasn't true. I provided you with the pictures, the dates, and the times. We have pictures here, 15 years. The city manager, former city manager, come out, he had the money, fully funded to replace the busted sidewalks. And as you see here, you get in a wheelchair, you go out into the middle of the street, and then you can't get up the curb. I've sent you this, and I've been working with you guys for 5 years. City Hall wrote back to me and told me in writing, not our problem. Take your problem somewhere else. Well, I'm here tonight. So now, hopefully, we can get something done. The trash in District 5 is deplorable. Now, you guys told me a couple of weeks ago that the bins on Grand Avenue are not yours. That's a lie. It's untrue. There is one Santrans bin. Yes, it's a mess, but you have about 20 bins that's a bigger mess. And why won't you do something about it? Every second door on Grand Avenue is closed. They pay a business license, they get health inspections, they pay rent, and they make landlords rich, and they struggle to survive. So why won't you acknowledge that we have a problem? And back at the back of the rear of the job center, there's a few homeless sleeping, and they're struggling in sleeping bags at night. Could the job center bring them inside and help them? We're funding that with our tax dollars. Sidewalks. There is no sidewalks. I bring it to you, and you ridicule me. Why? We have almost half our population is seniors. You know, if you spent a day on crutches or in a wheelchair, maybe you take this serious. Why won't you take it serious? Why do you ridicule people that come before you to speak publicly about our infrastructure failing and our blighted downtown?
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you for allowing me to speak.